Hi, I'm Wayne Allyn Root for Personal Liberty. I have a major political announcement, the biggest one of my life. Before I tell you about the most important decision of my political life, and a little bit about my personal story that led to this decision, let me first cut to the chase. If Obama is reelected on November 6th, America and capitalism both face grave danger. I believe America as we know it and love it, the America of our founding fathers, the America that embraces capitalism and offers the famous American dream, the America represented by the U.S. Constitution, the America of freedom, the America that allows the pursuit of happiness, that America is finished, gone, in the rearview mirror. I don't believe we ever recover from another 4 years of Barack Obama. As Obama's college classmate at Columbia University, I've reported for 4 years now on his plan to overwhelm the U.S. economy and wipe out capitalism. It's based on the strategy of two Columbia University professors, Cloward and Piven. Obama is following it to perfection. But he has only just begun. He's actually tried to be reasonable for his first 4 years because his goal was to be reelected so he could finish the job. So he had to be moderate, to hold his powder, to hold back from his true radical self. If Obama is reelected on November 6th, you haven't seen anything yet. His gloves will be off. He will be free to be his real radical self without ever having to face voters again. Obama will truly wreck this economy from sea to shining sea, just as Saul Alinsky, Cloward and Piven, Barack Obama Sr., Frank Marshall, Reverend Jeremiah Wright, Bill Ayers, and a host of other radical Marxist American haters taught him. We will face a final economic Armageddon, the total collapse of the U.S. economy and our monetary system. Obama Unleashed will send the IRS to crush his political opposition. He will appoint a majority of Supreme Court and federal judges so none of his violations of the Constitution will ever again be challenged. His policies will encourage radical Islamic and terrorist rogue states to threaten and eventually destroy Israel. He will finish his destruction, actually extinction, of our domestic oil, coal, and even natural gas industries, so we'll become more dependent on these rogue terrorist nations who sell us their oil, and he will continue to weaken the U.S. military so we will be unable to prevent it all from happening. Have I got your attention now? Here's my personal story and my big announcement. It's been a whirlwind last 5 years of my life. I started out my journey as the antithesis of a politician. As a small businessman, homeschool dad, Las Vegas odds maker, and political newcomer running for the Libertarian presidential nomination in 2007, you couldn't find more of an anti-politician in all of politics. But in America, anything is possible. In this great country, never discount a long shot. I was elected the Libertarian vice presidential nominee in 2008. The Bob Barr Wayne Root presidential ticket went on to garner the second highest vote total in Libertarian history. I was then elected chairman of the Libertarian National Campaign Committee and became the #1 vote getter in the country for election to the Libertarian National Committee. Media across the country called me Mr. Libertarian in my 4,000 media appearances and interviews since 2008. Today, after giving this many months of serious thought, I'm announcing the most important decision of my political career. I'm stepping down from my roles in the Libertarian Party to rejoin the Republican Party, and most importantly, to elect Mitt Romney as President of the United States. Why? First, let's start with what I believe in. I believe in the limited government promised by the U.S. Constitution and our founding fathers. I want government to get out of the way of small business owners like me, put fewer rules and regulations in our way, and allow us to keep more of our own money. I want government to remember that it's our money in the first place. I want politicians to support and motivate the taxpayers, the private sector, and small business, the economic engine of America. Small businesses create 75% of new jobs and pay most of the taxes in this country. Under the Obama administration, we have seen businessmen denigrated, demonized, punished, smothered by 60,000 new rules and regulations, threatened with massive new taxes, and attacked by the IRS. That's why there are no new jobs. That's why, in my opinion, the economy is in free fall. That's why America is facing economic collapse and disaster. I'm a capitalist evangelist. I'm proud to be a small businessman. I love starting and running businesses. What matters now above all else, the issues that are of life and death importance to this country, the only issues that matter to 90% of Americans are the economy, creating jobs, lowering spending, lowering the deficit and debt, reducing taxes, and saving capitalism. Because if the economy collapses or your personal economy collapses, what difference does any other issue matter? We need to get our fiscal house in order first before we can deal with all the other problems. Without an economy, without jobs, nothing else matters. That's why electing Mitt Romney is so important. This election is not about libertarian versus non-libertarian. This election is about capitalism versus big government progressivism and big brother socialism. Mitt Romney believes in the same things I do. Keeping businesses free from government intrusion, allowing small business owners to keep more of their own money, and rewarding instead of punishing the investors, innovators, and job creators. Mitt understands, as President Calvin Coolidge once said, the business of America is business. Mitt understands that Obama's rhetoric, constant threats against business, union favoritism, IRS intimidation, barrage of tax increases and threatened increases, 60,000 new rules and regulations, $5 trillion in new debt, the rules and regulations and taxes of Obamacare, the attempt to ban oil drilling and regulate the coal industry out of existence have all collectively ground the U.S. economy to a halt. If you don't believe me, just look across the pond to Europe. They've been following Obama's exact plan for decades. Their mantra was also big government, big unions, big spending, big taxes, big pensions, free health care, too many government employees, and tons of green energy, trillions spent on it. The result? Economic disaster on a grand scale. Specifically, Greece, Italy, Spain are enduring a tragedy few can even comprehend. France will be next. We are following the exact same path under President Obama. Is Mitt Romney perfect? No. Sure, I'd rather have Ron Paul or Rand Paul or Jim DeMint running the economy. Those are principled Tea Party fiscal conservatives. And of course, I'm a fan of Gary Johnson, the former New Mexico governor and Libertarian nominee for president. He is a great guy. But guess what? Wake up. Like it or not, the only candidates that will run this country for the next 4 years are either Barack Obama or Mitt Romney, and we can't afford to give Obama 4 more years. The sad reality is that this is our last stand to save America. The defeat of Barack Obama is necessary to save the U.S. economy from complete collapse. We will not survive 4 more years of Obama as CEO of this economy. I could speak personally. I know my businesses will not survive 4 more years of Obama. The economy's in free fall here on Main Street. Small business owners like me are seeing our entire life's work melting away. Our children's future and the legacy I built for them being destroyed before our very eyes. Don't believe me? You think things are getting better, as Obama and Clinton claimed at the Democratic Convention? Then you're in a delusional land of fairy tales. The economy is in danger of complete collapse. Did you see the latest jobs report? Disaster. For every 1 American landing a job, 4 dropped off the job rolls. At this rate, we'll all be unemployed. By the way, unemployment is up in 9 of the 10 battleground states. The 10th is even. Did you notice that sales tax revenues in California in July were down a staggering $530 million versus projections? That's in 1 state in 1 month. Disaster. Did you notice that petroleum sales nationally in July were down to 1996 levels? That help wanted ads are down to levels not seen since the Lehman Brothers collapse in 2008, when the entire financial system was on the verge of Armageddon. Of course you didn't. The mainstream media doesn't cover bad news that might embarrass Obama. The U.S. economy is like a very large and diverse failing company in desperate need of a turnaround. What America needs at this moment in history is a turnaround specialist. Not a libertarian, specifically, a turnaround specialist. Libertarianism isn't the issue right now. We need a leader who knows how to turn around a failing business. We need a job creator with major CEO experience, with specific business turnaround experience, a detailed understanding of economics, a creative and innovative business mind, and a track record of extraordinary success to lead this country back from the edge of the fiscal cliff. And I believe that person is Mitt Romney. If he could pull off miracles with Staples and dozens of companies like it, and the 2002 Olympics, which Mitt saved from an economic disaster similar to the situation America now faces, then he could turn this Obama bust into the Romney boom economy. As opposed to Barack Obama, who is not now, nor was he ever qualified to run a bodega or a Dairy Queen. The first new net job that Obama creates as president will be the first job he's created in his life. He was quick to take credit for 4.5 million jobs created at the Democratic Convention, but the Labor Department says job creation during Obama's presidency has been several 100,000 at best. Almost all of them, by the way, terrible low-paying jobs replacing good high-paying jobs. But here's the most important fact left out of Obama's speech. Obama's on track to have the worst jobs record of any president since World War II, says Washington Post fact checker Glenn Kessler. By the way, the Labor Department just revised the June and July jobs report down another 41,000 jobs from what was already reported. Do I agree with Mitt and the GOP on every issue? Of course not. No one ever agrees 100% on everything. But I'm willing to put aside my differences to set an example in order to take back our country from the grips of socialism and the abyss of economic ruin. There is no other choice. Our backs to the wall, and Obama's defeat is that important to the survival of our country, our economy, our freedoms, our children's future, and ultimately, capitalism itself. It's time for a coalition of Republicans, conservatives, Tea Party activists, libertarians, Ron Paul supporters, small business owners, homeowners, investors, patriots, Christians, Jews, and Israel supporters to join together and support Mitt Romney now. As Clint Eastwood said, we own this nation. It's time to take it back. Our businesses and jobs depend on it. The future of our children depends on it. Their quality of life is hanging in the balance. This is our last stand. Is there still hope? Can this Obama nightmare actually be turned around? Look no further than Ronald Reagan. Reagan's policies turned a Jimmy Carter economic disaster, just like Obama's, into the greatest and longest economic boom in world history, leading to the creation of over 45 million net jobs, 20 million of them in just a few years, over 60 trillion in private sector asset creation, and the greatest increase in GDP in American history. Reagan's great bull stock market created more wealth for America's families than any boom ever. Now, I know some of you are saying the GOP is not the answer. I understand. I left the GOP in 2007 because I lost faith too. Far too often the GOP has given only lip service to ideas and ideals like limited government, individual rights, and the Constitution. Once elected, Republicans often ignore those ideas and grow government just like Democrats. Look at the spending and growth of government under George W. Bush. Look at the 25,000 new rules and regulations under Bush. Far better than Obama, but still terrible. Look at the rising debt under Bush. This was precisely why I left the GOP, because the GOP left me. But something big has changed. With the birth and growth of the Tea Party, everything is now different. The Tea Party represents me. I believe in the Tea Party, and I believe that with the right leaders, the Tea Party can change the Republican Party or certainly influence the GOP in a big way. I'm proud of U.S. Senate Tea Party caucus leaders like Rand Paul, Jim DeMint, Mike Lee, and Marco Rubio. I hope to join them one day representing my home state of Nevada in the U.S. Senate. So for the first time in a long while, I feel good about the GOP, and I'm happy to say I'm back. Like the Philip Phillips song, I'm back home. Because of my general agreement with Mitt Romney and Paul Ryan on important economic issues, not total agreement, but general agreement, and because the Tea Party will hold the GOP to their promises, or we will start a firestorm and make their lives miserable, and then in the next election, throw the bums out, and because of my deep understanding of what Obama intends to do to this country and this economy in the second term, I'm now all in. I will do everything in my power to help elect Mitt Romney as the next president of the United States. Because I believe Mitt Romney is our Reagan, and I am proud to once again call myself a Republican, a Tea Party Republican, a Tea Party Libertarian conservative. This is our chance, folks. This is the future of our country and our children, our economy. It's our choice. Our businesses are on the line. Our economic survival's on the line. Our Constitution's on the line. So I've chosen to put my money where my mouth is. I've sacrificed everything I've worked so hard for, everything I've built in 6 years to rise to the top of America's Libertarian Party. It's time for all of us to put our differences aside and fight for this country and sacrifice and fight for freedom and fight for capitalism and fight for our children's future, because Obama's re-election will bring it all down. We can't let that happen. I won't let that happen. Will you? I'm Wayne Allyn Root for Personal Liberty. See you next week. Same time, same place. God bless America.